It's coming out like at the end of August. I was like, stop.
No, I was ready for it.
So we did this lab because it actually relates to something that's happened in real life. So during the Industrial Revolution in England, all the trees in a forest would get covered by this black soot. And so lighter colored moths would get picked out really easily. Once people started figuring out that they weren't being very eco-friendly and started changing some of their practices, the trees didn't get as much soot on them. So what do you think happened?
The black ones got eaten.
Yeah, because the trees were lighter. And that's exactly what you found in your online one. And some people suggest that there's a reason why there's no gray moths. And maybe that's because there hasn't really been a time in history where they've ever survived well. And so that's why I made things a little more complicated and added a third phenotype in there for you. So what did you find when you tested 3 colors instead of 2?
I just feel like there wasn't much selective pressure.
There wasn't?
Because we like had the last round, there was somewhat more, there were like a few more of the other two, like there were a few more of the light gray eaten, but like for the most part it like didn't matter.
Why do you think that was?
I think that just like the way I was doing it, like it was hard for it to like really be random or like automatic, and so like I didn't want to biasly pick the light gray because I like knew that was the idea of the simulation.
Yeah. Okay.
Or biasly pick the other one, so I just like.
So that might have skewed the results a little bit.
Well, I don't know. Like it might have just. I don't know that it skewed them. I think it just like it's hard for a person to simulate a bird.
Yeah, because you're thinking about it. Do you think if you did more cycles, you would see a different result?
I don't really think. I think that if it was something more like I think if the whites were like matched more exactly, or like the dark one and the black match more exactly, then I would
because the colors didn't exactly match the fabric.
Yeah.
So what about you guys?
Hang on, I'm going to stop you 1%, because we're actually over time, so if anybody has somewhere they need to be, you should go ahead and go. And so go ahead and finish it, but if you guys need to go, just go ahead and go, okay?
I should actually.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was late. What did you guys find?
We found like that the gray ones were selected against the most, and that the black ones survived the most, and the white were almost as much as the black, but not quite.
Okay. So,
By the way, I love your shoe color.
I said that earlier.
So you guys wrote for one of your questions what you thought the 4 requirements for natural selection to occur were. And I looked at your results and pretty much had the correct answers, but I'd like you to explain them a little bit. So why did you write down what you did?
I put difference in phenotype, which I would say is sort of similar to diversity in your 4 requirements, just because there has to be a difference in them that makes them like more susceptible or less susceptible to like pressures.
Yeah. What if there wasn't? Could natural selection occur?
Probably no, not at all.
Yeah.
Because something has to stick out for them to.
Do you guys want to explain some of the other ones you had?
Yeah, we put heritable for one of ours because if you have a difference in phenotype but you can't pass it on to your offspring, then you can't select for it.
Okay. What about the last 2?
I had differential fitness. One of those variations has to be more fit than the other for that to work.
And why is that?
So that consistently the same one is being selected against.
So the ones that are preferred would pass down their genes to the next generation and change the allele frequencies. What about the last one?
Yeah, we also had difference in fitness.
Yeah, I didn't
So.
have, I didn't have reproduction.
So why do you think reproduction might be necessary?
I put heritable, so maybe I was
Yeah.
kind of thinking like, kind of.
Yeah.
You have to be able to reproduce.
Yeah,
too,
there's
that's
different
not-
ways you
yeah.
can describe it. So if they didn't reproduce or pass on their genes, it just wouldn't be possible. So, one of the reasons I had you guys graph this is because I wanted to show you the different types of selection that can occur. So for your first activity with the two colored moths, you found that one survived better than the other. And how did you graph that?
We used a line graph, so you
Okay.
can see them kind of going. So we had both starting at 50, and then the dark shot up to 80-ish, and then the light shot down to like below 20.
Okay. What about you guys?
We used a bar graph, so it was just a little bit easier to just compare the heights.
Yeah, so there's multiple ways that we can show it. If we made a graph like this with color on the bottom. Let me switch over. And we only wanted to graph the final population. Let's say for the light forest, what would this look like?
More white and less black.
More white and less black. Something like that. What if we wanted to graph your second experiment? And so we put black, gray, white, and population. What survived the best for you guys?
Yeah, it would be like a U, right?
Like a
Because
U.
Look at them,
Yeah,
we're weird.
yeah.
something like that. So because you had more black and white than gray. So what you guys saw here is one of the extremes was chosen. If you did the other forest, you could also get the black, and it would just be the opposite. This would be moved over there, and you would have very little white. So this is something called directional selection, where the population is moving in one direction towards an extreme. What you found here for your other one is something called disruptive selection. So that's when both extremes are being selected for, and the middle trait is not doing so well, and so you see a dip here. There's one more type of selection that you guys didn't look at today. And so we can have color, population, and it will look like this. And that's something called stabilizing selection. So what do you think this might show?
The middle trait surviving better.
Yeah. So can you guys think of traits that might fit in any of these categories? What would be an example of stabilizing selection?
Probably like height, maybe, because
Okay.
like you kind of
Maybe the majority of people are an average height.
Average height, yeah.
I need you to wrap this up in the next 2 minutes.
Okay. I can do that. And so what about for this one? Disruptive. So something like color, which is what we found. And what about, can we think of something other than color for directional?
Like in the stalk-eyed flies, they select for like really long stalks on like the males, so.
Yeah. Yeah, so something like size, even height in some animals, like maybe giraffes, how long their neck is, you can select for an extreme. Does anyone have questions about that? Okay. So I made those graphs on there, but I've also got some animated examples here that might help you see it better. And so this is something you're going to have to know as we go further into the unit. Does anyone have questions about the vocabulary? And that's the end then.
Okay.